Welcome to Racebot TV on Monday nights. It's Monday, which must mean it's UK&I Skip Barber Racing Night. We're here live on iRacing Live and on Racebot TV. Rachel Whiteford here with Linus Burstrom. Linus, looking forward to an awesome race here at the Green Hell of America. Of course, this is what Americans like to think is their Nürburgring.
Yeah, it's a very long layout we're running today. 26 turns, almost 3-minute lap times in these cars. I think we're in for some really good racing today.
We are indeed. Well, checkered flag is displayed, so we're going to have 3 minutes because it's a long lap here at VIR for them to complete those final laps they're on, run through those positions on the grid. It's up on the screen for you right now. Blake Townend on provisional pole right now. Alongside him will be Paul Grillo, Raheem Antonides and Adrian Bidwell, David Grunell, Stuart Adcock, Tim Adcock, Simon Maltby, Paul Thurston, Mark Mercer, rounding out your top 10. The rest of those positions should be up on your screen, and it makes a good return for Blake Townend. The series, he's been in a couple of races so far this season, and he's had a great time of it. Seeing Radical's cars going off the track, hopefully not during the race this time, but Linus, it's going to be an awesome one here. This track is unforgiving, and of course this layout, that's a lot of places to make mistakes.
Yeah, the normal layout of this track is treacherous as it is, with a lot of hard corners and many places to go off, but with the added extra infield bit, this is going to be very interesting. A lot of places to overtake, a lot of places where you can make silly mistakes, and like I said, 26 turns, and there's maybe 4 or 5 easy ones, so this is going to be a very fun race to watch.
Yeah, we'll just correct Dobmeister77 in the YouTube chat, who said 29 turns. I told you. Well, actually, you're wrong. It's 26. So, yeah, that's people debating the length of this track. It's a very big circuit, of course, and, well, it makes for an incredibly challenging race, this circuit being 4 miles in length. Well, the cars are now finished qualifying. Those positions will stand that we have. We're going to wait for them to head over to the grid. Linus, this layout, very different to the normal full layout of VIR. Of course, this runs back and forth through the infield before rejoining down to the roller coaster.
Yeah, there's a tight hairpin at the end of the very long straight, and then you go into the infield, goes up and down like the rest of the track, and there's a lot of short corners and quick corners and tight corners, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle this.
It certainly will be. Of course, great return for Townend. Grillo as well, one of our seasoned campaigners. We can't call him a veteran, he doesn't like that. It makes him sound old. But Paul Grillo in P number 2. Although improved positions for Mark Mercer. He was 10th, he's now 4th. And that will move Adrian Bidwell down to P number 5. No other improvements throughout the field though. We also have Robert Plumley back, he's down in 21st. With 27 cars, we'll be starting this race today. Smaller grid than we've had in the past, especially at a circuit with 48 pit stalls, and considering we had in the region of 42 cars liners last week for Road Atlanta Short, and feel practically empty in comparison.
Yeah, it would have been better to have that kind of grid in this place. I think Ben Palmer actually isn't joining us. He's left the premises, so it's only going to be 26. So let's just hope they don't get too spread out.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. I like saying that word, indeed, but, well, the race is going to get started shortly, and looking for something exciting from Mark Mercer. We remember his big battle at Phillip Island with Paul Grillo, and that made for incredibly exciting racing in the final laps. Mercer keen to repay the favour and finish ahead of his fellow veteran. Oh, can't say that word, can we? Not veteran. Long-standing member is probably a kinder way to put it, but to fill time here as we have such a long cool-down lap at VIR, 3.5 minutes after the checkered flag comes out to end the session state before we go across to race grid. Makes an incredibly long amount of time to fill with nothingness, but we managed it just about. And we are now heading across to the grid. Final drivers will be taking those positions eventually. They are in fact now on the grid. Amazingly so, we've got to this point and we'll begin a race. Of course, first section here, Linus, it's twisty, it's tight. Got a lot of cars, even for a small grid. It's going to make something quite challenging here, especially through your favourite NASCAR turn 3.
Yeah, it's kind of. Well, it's gonna be tight with these many cars, and since they're open wheels, you can't really make contact either, which I personally don't really like, but that's the way it is. So let's just hope they can all survive. And yeah.
Well, excellent expert opinion there from
Not
Linus.
really. I'm not very good at this track, so I've only raced it
No,
once.
you're not. You can only turn left, we know. But the final cars will take their grid spots on the track here at Virginia International Raceway, and we'll get set for a mighty 8 laps of racing. This is not Skippy 2K Cup. We don't need to make a pit stop here. These races are the same length as the official series races, so we will have a grand total of 8 laps. Those engines will be starting to rev up now, as we have just under 20 seconds remaining before the green flag will be shown to these drivers. Engines rev. There's lights coming on the iRacing.com gantry as we get prepared to go racing here at VIR. Green flag is out and we're rolling. Great start from Blake Townend. Paul Grillo slots in behind him. They're not as good a start from him. Antonides will defend to the inside there from Mercer, who will be on the outside with those front 4 as we head towards this first corner. Big 180-degree right-hand corner. Townend makes it through cleanly. Mercer goes round the outside of Antonides. Well placed by him. Further back in your field, of course, too wide for the majority. Everyone making it through so far. Nobody wanting to get into any problems at all so far. Heading up towards turn 3. This is NASCAR turn 3. Linus' favourite. Left-hander through here. Another 180-degree corners. We have minor wing bumping at the front. Tim Adcock and Stuart Adcock there, so some harsh words I expect after the race. But everyone flowing through this one with little problems so far.
Everyone made it through very cleanly, and I don't think anyone's even touched the grass, so that was a very clean start, which hopefully bodes well for the rest of the race.
Oh, contact towards the rear of your field. That is, I believe, Martin Fox is one of those drivers.
I take that back.
Yes, exactly. You can never get things too early here. The cursor of the commentators will strike replay up on your screen. That's Kieran Roche and Martin Fox. They come together as Kieran Roche goes round the outside of Fox and hits a curb, bounces back into him there and impacts those 2 drivers. That's one definitely out of the race and another one potentially out, as they also collect, I believe, Ben Summers in the process there with a slight tag. So early problems for the drivers, Linus, as we head into this race.
Yeah, I'd say that was a racing incident though, because, well, Fox bounced the curb, but yeah, they both had room on each side of the track to go to, so I'd say that's a racing incident right there.
They did indeed. Battle for the lead. It's Paul Grillo going around the outside of Blake Townend as we head down into the infield part of this grand... I need to look it up because there's so many versions of this track. We're heading into the infield part of this track, and I can't even exactly tell what version it is because it runs off the edge of the screen. Thank you, iRacing. But
I think it's Grand East.
Grand East layout, you're right, it is. There's Grillo there ahead of Townend. Running up now through the twisty, very difficult section here, Linus. These drivers curb hopping back and forth as we head up to rejoin the main track at the roller coaster.
Yeah, back on the normal track with the long downhill through some 90-degree turns again. There's a lot of those 90-degree turns at this track.
There are indeed.
There's
Paul Grillo
usually a
there.
lot of shit happening down there.
There is indeed, but Paul Grillo
this
leading
time.
the way now from Blake Townend as they head down towards completing lap number 1. Behind them, that is Mark Mercer and Fahim Antonides in 4th position. Stuart Adcock up to P number 5. Adrian Badil has dropped back a few places. He's currently running, I believe, in 6th position. He will be. Time is scoring a little bit out of date due to the length of this lap and how many times you can be passed during the race. But P1 fight for the lead. Townend's gone right round Grillo, so the draft a major factor here at VIR, making these drivers acutely aware of that in the final lap. So whoever wins this race will have to be in a position to do just that. Draft past the leader onto the start-finish line. Linus?
The what, sorry?
I was just saying, you have to, as a driver, put yourself in a position to be the one drafting past across the start-finish line rather than leading.
Yeah, you don't really want to be leading if the guy behind you get a big run, because there is no way to stop him from coming past you. Especially with the way open wheel cars are designed with the wings and everything, it makes it even worse. So
Well, the Skip
And the
Barber
long
not
straights
experiencing
on
a
this
large
track
amount
is-
of downforce and dirty air, so not really a problem for these guys as it would be in IndyCar or Formula 1 cars. We have a pass down here, and this is P number 9, P number 10. Paul Fuston getting through the outside of Simon Maltby there. That is the 02 car. No, it was David Grunnell. I apologise, getting past there. So David Grunnell had been ahead, passes Simon Maltby back again, leaving himself open for attack by Paul Thurston from behind. So that could be an interesting one. Pity the oak tree that we see there in that corner is now a relic of history. Fortunately, the oak tree corner no longer has an oak tree at it here at this circuit in 2015. But P1, what again? Another battle. We've been having them all day so far. And with the nature of this track, I suspect it will not be a changing factor. But Paul Grello heads the field once again from Blake Townend. Will he be here at the end of the lap, though? He did score last time round as your leader. But will the same situation be there at the end of a very long lap? At the back in your field, two wide racing there as Piers Cocky and Clark Williams. They're slotting back into line there, but ahead, Grunnell and Maltby still fighting hard. As we see from behind, I believe that was the car of Peter Cowan, the Hunt Club 100 machine, coming through there past the car of Patrick Fairbanks, taking another position. He's up to P number 16. Further up, though, it is Paul Thurston chasing down Simon Maltby. That driver wanting desperately to get involved in this fight, and with the amount of time, Linus, that David Grunnell and Simon Maltby have been fighting, they're really opening themselves up to attack from behind now.
Yeah, I think if they just settle behind each other, they'll pull away a bit, but with the way these straights are designed, you kind of need to make a move at the end of them. And since they're so long, you don't really just want to sit behind, and that also makes it harder for them to pull away from the others as they still get the slipstream, then straight that manages to catch up, as well as them being slowed down by the fight. So
It
we've
certainly
seen that
does.
before in this series, the leaders fighting and the other guys catching up and eventually getting past, so they just need to settle in behind each other somehow and pull away a bit.
It certainly does, and Paul Grillo will be scored leading that lap. He did manage to hold off Blake Townend, who had a poor exit from the corner, but as Grillo struggles there in the first corner, that's Townend right all over his rear wing once again as we head up towards turn 2 and 3 now, NASCAR Bend. Mark Mercer in third position. He's passed Fahim Antonides, but he cannot get up to the leaders yet. He is about a second back, but closing as these two fight for the front of your field. Towards the rear, that battle we had between Maltby and Grunnell has hurt Simon Maltby because Paul Thurston is through, and he's now the one chasing after David Grunnell. Towards the middle of your pack, Piers Cocky chasing Mark Turner there. This will be for P number 11 on the racetrack, so just outside your top 10. Clark Williams behind. He's well out of position. We've seen Clark Williams recently, Linus, certainly running towards the front of the field, so seeing him down in 13th is quite unusual.
Yeah, he qualified down in 12th, so he started all the way down there, and after a somewhat bad qualifying lap, looking at where he wants to be, and then just not managed to climb through the field. But
oh, we have it off.
Going
We have
on.
a car off. That's Mark Turner, I believe. It was Turner off, I believe, from the racetrack. We'll try and catch what happened there. It was Mark Turner losing positions. You'll get a replay up for you, hopefully. Mark Turner coming through the first part of the lap here as we head up towards Oak Tree Bend, just running wide of the track, completely overshooting the corner there, rejoining behind Clark Williams. That'll have him scored down in P number 13, under attack from behind by Peter Cowan. Can he do anything to hold him off? I don't know. We'll find out, but he hasn't managed to do it. That's Peter Cowan's gone past Mark Turner, so really cost him there, Linus.
Yeah, he made a little mistake there, wasn't very good, but just needs to bounce back and try and make it up again as fast as he can.
He does. We're going to go and look back at your leaders once again. Well, it's Blake Townend now leading Paul Grillo. We've said that repeatedly during this race and the other way around, but, well, one dancer must lead at all times, and right now, that is Blake Townend. As we head down a roller coaster to complete this lap, we're going to get an example this time round of just how much closing is for Paul Grillo, and if he's able to lead into that final corner and still win the race. So it'll be a great example. Keep your eyes on the car of Paul Grillo behind Blake Townend as we come out the final corner, running to the straight. Not close enough here at all.
Mark Mercer
So
ran
it
wide
is
on the exit
possible.
as well and dropped way back.
Oh, yes, you're right. Mark Mercer issues for that driver as he's got 2 wheels. He got 2 wheels. Replay on your screens. 2 wheels on the AstroTurf on the outside. Just has to get off the throttle to avoid spinning that car. Will succeed that position 2 for Fahim Antonides and potentially Stuart Adcock now. I'll have to actually fast forward to find out if he did. He did. Adcock was passed. But Grillo, no, not Grillo, Mark Mercer did maintain that spot, but in NASCAR Bend, he's now giving it up. Mark Mercer down to P number 5, Linus.
Yeah, he made a slight mistake on the exit, got 2 wheels out in the grass, and that cost him all the way down the straightaway, and there was really nothing he could do to hold those 2 off. It was just a sitting duck down the whole straightaway.
He was, but, well, Mark Mercer, we know he's a good campaigner. He can fight his way back here. But the race is not over. We are halfway now. 4 laps into this 8-lap marathon, which isn't something you'd really consider a marathon, Linus, but VIR Grand East it certainly is. Out front, though, once again, Town is still leading, but Grillo a lot closer this time by, heading past Oak Tree, and we're going to head down towards the inner part of Grand East. We'll see if Paul Grillo could be closer this time by, and if being closer allows him to catch the draft there of Town End, will allow him to pull past on the run to the start-finish line. As you see, he goes past early, so he'll make that pass out of Oak Tree, pretty inside there, running towards the entry to the Grand East inner loop. Paul Grillo will have that position, will not be contested by Blake Townend, very cautiously just backing out and giving the spot to Grillo. These two really not content on losing time amongst each other, but Townend running quite wide on the exit of the corner there. Grillo will hold that lead securely as we run through the very twisty left, right, left, rolling down hills here of Virginia International Raceway, Linus.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to make a move back too early because they've got almost a 2-second gap down to third now after that mistake earlier, so he might just wait till the next straightaway and get him back then, which he probably will as well, so there's no need for him to take a risk and fight back in the corner bits. And I think Mark Mercer just went out in the poop-coloured mud again in the chicane bits, lost a bit more time.
Mark Mercer has indeed lost some time here, but he just went straight across one of those curbs. He's received a slowdown penalty there. To get back on your leaders to watch what happens as we run to the final section of the lap here. If you'll notice, Blake Tannen much closer to Grillo than Grillo was last time by, so we'll see exactly what this effect has. As you can see there, bigger draft effect for Blake Townend, but not enough really to get up to the start-finish line there. So realistically, Linus, you're going to have to be tucked under their rear wing coming out of that final corner for it to matter any further back, and they can hold that position.
Well, I think on the last lap, those two are going to fight all the way through the corners down towards the finish line. So seeing how that played out, I don't think he's going to wait. Whoever's behind isn't going to wait till the exit of the last corner. It's too risky. They're gonna have to make it happen somewhere in the turns before the straight.
They certainly will, and I was wrong last time by. It was 3 laps completed, not 4. So actually at the halfway point now, as we go on to complete lap number 5, we'll be running up through the first part of the lap here, as it's still Grillo from Townend at the front of this race, very busy. But
Townend is
further back a
actually
little
leading.
Bit. It is Townend leading. It's so hard to tell. Red and black cars. Both very similar, but Fahim Antonides behind with Stuart Adcock there. Mark Mercer recovering from 2 unforced errors, really, so far in this race. He's put his feet running a few times, Linus. Perhaps feeling the pressure not up where he'd like to be.
Sorry, who were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about Mark Mercer, but Adrian Bidwell making a mistake there. The car wobbling, which allows Tim Adcock through. Dave Grunnell also looking to make a position there. That was just in the same corner we saw with Mercer's initial incident there, Linus. Bidwell had the same problem. He got a little bit loose, but he managed to keep it on the racetrack this time. So he lost one spot. He will go back on the attack here at Tim Adcock. Too wide running into the entrance to the inside loop of Grand East. Can Bidwell hold it around the outside? We'll find out here. Giving Tim Adcock lots of room, but Adcock will be on the inside. Bidwell can hold it. He can have the inside line to this corner. He won't hold it. He slots back in line. But
he might lose the spot
there.
down to next corner instead.
He might indeed. That is the car of David Grunnell looking for a spot there on Adrian Bidwell. David Grinnell not able to hold that on there, though. He will drop back somewhat. Looking back from those guys, it's a 3-car battle here with Paul Thurston, Simon Maltby, and Clark Williams. Clark Williams battling for a top 10 finish here today, which is what we really expect of him these days, but not what we're seeing so far in the race today. He's just been so far down the grid. But Simon Maltby, piggy in the middle in that battle we have there for P9, 10, and 11. Looking behind them is Peter Cowan. Club 100 machine had a slowdown penalty. That's lost a position there to Mark Turner and Mick Watson, who both go through unchallenged, as does Piers Cockey, it seems. So plenty of spots lost for Peter Cowan there. The Club 100 car suffering from his slowdown penalty, cutting the track. There's a lot of track here to cut, so 26 corners, you'll get one eventually, Linus.
Yeah, he made the same mistake as Mark Mercer in the same place, and with those twisty left-right lefts in there, it's very easy to make a mistake. And unfortunately, when you get a slowdown, there's not really much you can do. You just need to slow down and let whoever is closest behind you past, and try not to make the same mistake again, or even better, not make the mistake to start with.
Couldn't say it better myself. Out front, Blake Townend is leading the race once again from Paul Grillo, and those two really are being very respectful so far, Linus. They're giving each other a lot of room. They're letting each other pass when they have a run. Not really fighting them. You can see the gap has opened up now. They have 1.8 seconds to Fahim Antonina's in third place. These guys, they know this race can be decided between the pair of them. They don't want to bring anybody else into the mix.
No, as long as they play fair to each other and they leave each other room going into the corners, and they don't fight each other too much in the corners before like the last 2 laps, they know it's going to be between the two of them. And if they bring anyone else up there by fighting and going side by side the whole lap around, there's a much bigger chance of crashing out. So they're both playing it smart right now, taking it safe and not taking too many unnecessary risks.
Indeed, indeed. Well, people might have to challenge themselves in the YouTube chat then, because I've said it, and well, that's your own problem. But I've been reminded by Hugo, our cameraman, that indeed is my buzzword. But P number 7, Adrian Bidewell there, with Tim Adcock ahead and David Grinnell to the rear as we head now down towards the entrance of this inner loop section of the racetrack. We'll see if anyone can gain positions this time round. Of course, we saw that Bidewell did lose a spot last time in the run-up to Oak Tree as he wobbled through one of those fast cresting corners. He'll be wanting to take that position back and move up to P number 7. David Grinnell dropping back behind him in 8th. He just can't quite keep with that pair. There's Bidewell on a big charge here after Tim Adcock. Adcock leading this threesome, but might well get a slowdown with how much he's clipping those curbs. As get very sideways there in that car. So you can see Tim Adcock pushing very hard, Linus.
Yeah, I was just watching back. It's a bit late, but we're going into turn 1 on this lap. Lap number 6, Mark Turner blew his engine from 12th place, so he's out. Don't know if we covered that or not.
Mark Turner, yes. We'll try and catch that one. We'll get a replay if we can. It only happened a few moments ago.
He just downshifted too quick, I think, because the engine blew and he had no
we
one
won't get a
close
replay
in,
then
so.
because, well, mismanaging your engine will do that to you. But looking back towards the front. Oh, wow.
Very close to town and now going onto the lead, onto the straight.
Yeah, we had a big jump there from Stuart Adcock, hopping over a curb just round the final couple of corners. I think that might have been a network issue on my end, though. I apologise. Looked like he Dukes of Hazzard that one. But Paul Grillo returning to the lead of your race here as we enter lap number 7. So we'll have 2 laps remaining now. This is where it really matters. Gap opened up to 2.9 seconds now between Paul Grillo, Blake Townend, and Fahim Antonina's in third. So definitely a 2-horse battle formed here, Linus. Antonina's really not in any sort of position to gain. Stuart Adcock with him, not fighting him, but the two of them just not able to catch up.
Grillo has been sitting behind Townend for a couple of laps now, not wasting any time and just letting them both pull away. And I think Antonides and Adcock behind them are doing the same. So to try and keep up, but they just can't because they're too at the front or too quick. So I think they're going to have to settle for a battle for third back there, unless something happens.
Battle between third should probably be decided between those two drivers. Mark Mercer, though, on his own in P5, a lonely 5th position for the Club 100 car of Mark Mercer. This is not where we're used to seeing him. Normally he's up there battling with Paul Grillo. But Grillo and Townend have left their friend out to dry today. He's sitting back in a very lonely spot. 5 seconds to the car behind. 2 seconds. Adcock and Antonides are ahead of him. Behind there is Bidewell, Adcock and Brunel still battling away for 6, 7 and 8 on the racetrack as we have, well, just under 1.5 laps remaining of this motor race. You have to see if Bidewell can make any sort of move on Adcock very soon, Linus. He's got to find a way past.
Yeah, Adcock just made a move on the outside of Antonides going into the corner, but he couldn't make it past.
No, he couldn't. But right now, looking back at your leaders, they're still running off from one another. And it's often difficult to focus on the leaders when they're so, I don't want to say boring, they're sedate because they have no one to really fight with. So, Townend and Grillo putting on a masterclass of speed here, navigating the green hell of America. As we look down towards P number 13, that is Piers Cocky. And there's a big gaggle of cars here. Piers Cocky heading that group of himself, Cowan and Richards. This car's coming up towards the rear now of, I believe that is Mick Watson.
Something has happened between Townend and Grillo, because Grillo has lost a lot of time. I think he got a slowdown in the twist a bit.
We'll find out very shortly. He did.
So
Paul Grillo
Townend
cutting the curb massively. I'm going to replay that one actually because that's quite interesting to see. In that very twisty section there towards the end of the inner loop, Grillo just runs across the grass, narrowly misses Blake Townend actually, so could have had 2 cars out of the race at that moment, but a slowdown penalty by the race control team for Paul Grillo. This might well have cost him a chance at the victory here at Virginia International Raceway, as Blake Townend runs away now, but out of the draft, Paul Grillo did seem a little bit faster, so Grillo has a 1 lap remaining to catch him. 1 lap to get back to Blake Townend and 1 lap to win this motor race. He could have thrown it all away here on lap 7, but he has 1 chance remaining. We'll see if he can do anything about that. Looking back towards P number 13 though, and the cars of Piers Cocky and Mick Watson in 12th position. Piers Cocky catching the back of that car of Watson. We'll have to see if he can make a move on him here very soon and move himself up to the 12th position.
Stuart Adcock regained 3rd going into 1 as well from Fahim Antonides on the outside.
He has, but Antonides up the inside there of Adcock. Adcock should be able to hold the outside though, and that'll give him the inside into NASCAR turn 3. It will indeed put Stuart Adcock up to P number 3 now. He has 1 lap, or less than 1 lap now, to hold off the car of Mark Mercer. That's for him, Antonides, I apologise. Towards the front though, Grillo is catching Blake Townend. We've seen him a little faster in the twisty parts of the racetrack. Still too fast last time round, but for Oak Tree Corner, they're separated by barely a few tenths of a second. So Paul Grillo not out of this one yet. Driver number 27 car is pushing hard.
He's caught up to Townend very well now since he made that mistake, but I don't think it's going to be enough because I think it's too far back. Antonides is coming back for 3rd though.
Antonides is making a move for 3rd on Stuart Adcock, but Adcock on the inside there entering the inner loop. He should hold up, but he does hold the position, so great defensive driving there by Stuart Adcock. Paul Grillo charging hard now to get back towards Blake Townend. Has his race been killed by a single mistake? Lapped car ahead of them. This could play into the race. You have a lapped car ahead of your leaders, which could be a factor here, unless he gets clean off the racetrack, which could be an overzealous move by his part, but Blake Townend running through the twisty section. This is where the slowdown penalty hurt Grillo so badly.
This is going to be very interesting.
This will be very close. The lap car will be a factor here, right in front of your leaders as we run towards the line. Either it will be a draft for Paul Grillo or it will block Blake Townend, but this lap car could be a factor. Will he get out of the way? He does. He gets out of the racetrack, but that's closed up for Paul Grillo now. He's right up on the back of Blake Townend. Paul Grillo trying desperately to find anything he can to close that gap. The 27 and the 57 battling hard here. They desperately need to close this gap. Can Paul Grillo be close enough? He won't be close enough. Blake Townend exits that final corner well clear of the draft of Paul Grillo. Grillo can only sit there and watch as Blake Townend will cruise home to an easy victory at Virginia International Raceway. Blake Townend, your winner. Round 5 of the UK&I Skippys Race School Series, and well, we thought it might be very different there at the end, Linus. The lap car sensibly getting out of the way as we have an impact there. Contact crossing the finish line between Antonides and the car of Stuart Adcock. We'll actually replay that. I know it's after the race, but That's worth seeing. So we'll get that replay up for you now, and it'll be Stuart Adcock coming towards the start-finish line completely unimpeded. He will cross that finish line, no problems. He slows down, and Anthony does expresses some displeasure there to Stuart Adcock. So a little bit of tempers being vented on the racetrack after the checkered flag for those drivers. But we'll run through your final finishing positions here in round 5 of the UK&I Skip Barber Racing School Series. Your winner here today, Blake Townend, followed by Paul Grillo, just unable to make it there at the end. Stuart Adcock, your final podium sitter, will be in 3rd position, followed by Fahim Antonides, Mark Mercer, Tim Adcock, Adrian Bidewell, David Grunnell, Paul Thurston, and Simon Maltby. The rest of those positions will be up on your screen. Linus, it was shaping up to be quite a quiet race, but we had a really exciting one at the end there.
Yeah, it could have been more exciting, but you know, the small mistakes, like we said before, too many small mistakes on a very long and challenging track like this is not very unusual, and it was the small mistake that settled this race for the win and also ruined it for Mark Mercer, who had to settle for 5th.
It certainly was, and well, that small issue by Paul Grillo, one half a car too wide in the tight twisty S's of the racetrack, was running over the apex, giving himself a slowdown penalty, costing himself the whole race, and we can only really blame it on himself. It was an unforced error, so a big problem there for Paul Grillo, something he probably won't forgive himself for. And yeah, well, we're just going to pop to commercials, and we'll be back shortly to see if any drivers turn up for an interview. But until then, join us after a very short break.
Truex in the outside, contact made, 56 slides it into 4, who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Monday Night Skippies on RaceSpot TV. Rachel Whiteford, Linus Brostrom, and we're joined now by Fahim Antonides, driver who came home today in the 4th position. I think Fahim is having audio problems still, but Linus is going to be my court stenographer right now, and you're going to text him a question, Linus. Ask him to tell us about his race.
There we go.
Indeed, we'll see if he can actually respond to that one, and we'll get a somewhat lopsided interview here with Fahim. I think we might still be having audio problems with Fahim, unfortunately, so we may have to skip that one. Kind of unfortunate, but interesting race, Linus. We had excitement, we had some self-inflicted mistakes, notably Paul Grillo and Mark Mercer.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear Fahim Antonides now. Can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us. Well, hopefully we're going to get something from Fahim now. We apologise for this bit of a technical...
Okay, I'm sorry, I really can't hear you, but I think you want me to talk about the race from how I saw it. I wasn't going to race tonight. I thought this isn't my favorite track, and I've never really been good here, but I think it was only about 10 minutes from before the practice session end that I thought, okay, why not? I'm not doing anything else tonight. So I think I was quite lucky to get third in qualifying. And then from there on, I wasn't really in the draft of Blake and Paul. I think I might have been about 2 odd seconds behind them for the rest of the race. But surprisingly, I was able to hang on, probably because they were fighting each other. And then Stuart Adcock, he was waiting behind all along the race, and he timed it perfectly. I think what happened is when he went for the pass in the penultimate lap or the last lap, I missed a gear going into the second corner, and that was enough for him to go through.
Well, thank you, Fahim. Exciting race. Of course, we've not been able to really question him as we normally would, but thank you for giving us your viewpoint there, Fahim, on your race so far. Well, Linus, it's been a great race, and got to thank iRacing, of course. We're here on iRacing Live. We are every Monday. Also on RaceSpot TV's YouTube channel. Awesome racing, awesome drivers, and a key example of why Monday Night Skippies is some of my favourite racing in the world. Well, that's all from me, Rachel Whiteford, Linus Brostrom, Hugo Luis on the cameras. We've been RaceSpot TV. This has been iRacing Live. Join us same time next week for more Get Barber Racing School action. Good night.
Goodbye.